Here we are with the electric on top, solid on offense. Your defense is crazy at times. Josh Portillo. Buddy, I saw your tweet. It broke my heart. I walk me through those initial emotions.
Yeah, so we saw, people were talking about D1 getting canceled, which is, obviously that's terrible, but that's in a whole week. So it was kind of like, a lot of us weren't really panicking because we're all here, we're already here. So we thought we were safe essentially. And it was about 3:30 today, we had a meeting because we were just getting ready to go work out. And as soon as we sat down for the meeting, the first thing that coach says is, it's canceled. And he said it with the most darkest look on his face, and it just seemed like everything just paused, like everything just stopped. And it literally seemed like we were sitting there for like an hour in just complete silence, like just stunned. And I'm not gonna lie, there's a lot of tears. Like you say, wrestlers are tough people, but that's exactly the thing. We put so much work into this, so much time, and it's gone, just like that. Like it's just crazy. But yeah. So there's a lot of us crying because we had a couple guys that could have been a national champ. We've had a lot of guys dealing with injuries and a lot of perseverance and obstacles we've had to overcome. There's people who, like, to be honest, they'll admit they might not make the national tournament next year. We're usually in a tough region, and they had some crazy runs at regionals. They might not ever make it back, and just like that, it's gone. I lost in the D2 finals last year, and that hit me pretty hard. And I've had this marked on my calendar. I want to be a national champion really bad, and I've been training for the last 365 days, and the exact day before it gets cut. That, like, it just hurts. Like, I won't lie, I cried a good amount just because, like, it sucks. And like I said, like, All American, whatever, it's a extrinsic goal, like, to be an All American or whatever, but at this point I'll never be a 4-time AA, and that kind of stinks because I do think there's a pretty good difference between a 3-time AA and a 4-time AA. And now I have one less chance to become a national champion. Obviously I'm going to give it my all to do it next year, but it's got cut in half. This could have been the year that we were national champions as a team. I thought we could have done it. It wouldn't have been easy, obviously, like everything would have had to go right, but we could have been team national champs. And it's just crazy that the day before, it just gets cut right before we're about to go work out. I can't imagine how it felt for people that were working out in the venue at the time when they heard that. But yeah, it's astonishing because we don't really know the severity of it, because you got people saying that the coronavirus is nothing, it's just like the flu. But if they're canceling the NCAAs, it better be legit. I'm just saying, like, to have all this stuff canceled, the NBA and stuff, like, obviously I hope it's not terrible, but, like, I gotta think it's legit, like, if it's canceling all this stuff. But it's unfortunate to say the least.
How quick did Justin text you?
Well, I actually called them because...
Is he at home right now?
They're here.
They're here.
Yep, they were about an hour away when it happened, so they were traveling. That's what stinks about it. Like, you have all these fans and family coming because it's such a late notice, and they're already here. So we're just hanging out with them for the night and just hanging out. But that was a tough call because, yeah, I dialed my dad's phone number, and like as soon as I said it, yeah, I started crying right away, and I was just like, it's done. The NCAA tournament's done.
So your sibling rivalry, how long before he pokes at you just a little bit for being a finalist at Grandview this last year? How long? I mean, he's going to give you a little bit of a grace period, right? He's not going to dig into you tonight.
I'm not going to lie to you, he's already dug into me.
Oh, no.
Yeah, kind of like as a joke. He's just trying to loosen the mood a little bit.
Right, absolutely.
But, yeah, I'm not in AA this year. He was a finalist this year. Like, that's just the way it is. But, yeah, and he was joking about it, and I appreciate him joking about it with me because it's tough. Like, a lot of us are in a really deep spot right now because this is our lives, and it's not just wrestling; it's these other sports too. We put our whole lives into this. Some people, like, I'll be honest with you, I don't know if I could afford to go to college if I did not wrestle. I'm very thankful for the scholarships that I have from wrestling, and I don't know if I go to college without it. But I train every single day to be a national champion, and now it's gone just like that. But So it hurts. Like I said, I was taking it pretty rough because I've been through a lot of stuff this year myself. Like not just physically, but something I don't mind sharing anymore. I actually spent 10 days in a mental health hospital. 10 days in the preseason that I just missed out, and like I feel like there's a lot more wrestlers than people realize that have mental health issues, and that's why I don't mind sharing my story. Not gonna lie, I visualize sharing it in my speech after winning a national title. I just visualize things like that because I want people to be more open with their mental health issues. But I spent 10 days in a mental hospital, and I did try to kill myself. That's something I'm coming to terms with more, and I'm trying to use that to help others, to be honest. Because, like I said, wrestling is as physically brutal as it is, it's mentally taxing too. And like I said, it's tough because we put so much into it. Like, just the mental preparation into this week alone, so much. It takes so much out of you mentally, and now it's gone. Like, just like that. Like, I don't know, just takes your breath away. Like, I still can't believe it. It doesn't feel real. Like, I don't have closure. But
That's incredible, Josh, that you're willing to talk about that, because that is something that isn't spoken about enough. And some of it, mental health is so important, and you it's one of those secretly kept things that people struggle with. And bringing that to light is incredible. And the fact that you had planned to do that when you won a national title, which I'm not gonna lie, I can show you my bracket. You're penciled in there, buddy. You had an incredible season. You dealt with adversity. You had a couple losses. I'm looking at that bracket. What would it have meant to be able to use the platform of the NCAA page to speak about mental health?
yeah, that's exactly my point. I'm in a very good position where I am a good enough of a wrestler to where people hear me. I'm very honored to have. I believe I have one of the best fan bases that are possible, and I don't have just a fan base from Kearney, but I do have fans across the nation, and I'm using that. Like, I've come to terms with it. Like, people will listen to me, and people respect me enough. So instead of just like showboating and being like cocky about being as good as I am, which once again I'm still not a national champion, which would be awesome, hopefully next year. But I'm trying to use my platform, as good as I am, to let people hear important messages that I think are important to me, such as mental health. So I know that I have power to influence others. Same thing with like doing wrestling camps. Like, I did a lot of wrestling camps this summer, and I plan to do a lot of wrestling camps this summer too, as long as coronavirus doesn't take that away. But kids look up to my brother and I. That's just the way it is in Iowa, especially Iowa and Nebraska. And as a leader, like I said, I want to push things that I think are important. I think mental health is extremely important, and people don't pay enough attention to it, especially for males and especially for wrestlers. People think that wrestlers are so tough that if they have a mental health issue, that they can just be thrown away. But that's not the case, because it's the exact opposite. Wrestling is so mentally taxing. And I'm telling you right now, there's a lot more people that have mental health issues in wrestling than you would believe. Like, there's a lot of people that go through a lot of depression, especially anxiety. I know several teammates that have tons of anxiety for going through wrestling, because it's so nerve-wracking when you put so much work into it. But so yeah, as somebody as good as I am with the following that I have, I want to use it to the best of my ability. So instead of bragging, I want to bring up important stuff such as mental health.
When you talk about your teammates, you still return. You return Dawkins. Mm-hmm. You return Matt Malcolm. Jared is graduating.
He's graduating.
That's got to be tough. Mm-hmm. But this isn't it for Nebraska Kearney. You guys you're bringing guys back, and you guys don't ever seem to rebuild. Mm-hmm. What is it wrestling for a coach that obviously was supportive of you when you struggled? Mm-hmm. Was there for you and having teammates around you? What is it about Nebraska Kearney? Because you transferred schools. Mm-hmm. What was it about going to Nebraska Kearney that what brought you there?
Yeah, so on my recruiting visit, I visited 12 colleges total, because I got 6 when I was a senior. I guess I visited 11 colleges because I visited Kearney twice. And take how you want, but I do believe that I can contend with the best in the D1 level. And so the second time I was getting recruited, I visited 5 D1 schools and then 1 D2 school, and that was Nebraska Kearney. And I've learned when you visit these schools, sometimes you can tell, and sometimes I get a little bit of a hunch whether they're being real with you or not. And I truly believe that Don Jensen and Andrew Sorensen were being just completely honest and genuine people when I was on my visit with them. And I bought into the program, and I think it's one of the best choices I've ever had in my life. They've been so supportive, not just for wrestling, but outside of my life. Like, they visited me just about every single day when I was in the hospital, which is awesome to have coaches that can do that. And Jensen, he's admitted he's never had somebody like that before who's been in a mental health hospital. He, as a head coach, has never had to go through that. So he admitted that it was a struggle and that he didn't know how to go through it, but he's willing to do that thing for his athletes. And that's a cycle. When you have a head coach that's like that, and when you have an assistant coach like Andrew Sorensen, the athletes start to be like that. And so I truly think that Nebraska Kearney is just an amazing family. And like, even if some of the guys fight on the team, I guarantee you every single person has their back. Like every single person, like if I see somebody messing with one of my teammates and I don't know who they are, like one time I saw somebody messing with Matt Malcolm. He's kind of the guy that messes around and like, he doesn't actually fight people, but he like tussles around with people, like play wrestles them. But I turned around once and I saw somebody like on his back, and my heart rate shot up instantly, and I was about ready to fight the other dude. But then I realized they were joking, so I was like, okay, calm down. But that's just the team environment that we have. Like, we're such a good family, and it makes you realize, like, for instance, you have this national tournament, it's canceled, but there's things that are more important than the national tournament, like the family that we have. Obviously, it was heartbreaking when we heard the news, and I'm still not over it, and it's going to take a while to get over it. But the lessons that we learned throughout the year, the life lessons and the morals and the values that we gained throughout the season, nobody can take those away from us. So yeah, we don't have first place team trophy. I don't have an individual national trophy, but my time spent with my teammates, I wouldn't trade it for anything. And that's what I think being on a good team is all about. I could be on a different team that's really super good, but not be like a family. And I don't know if I do as well there. Like just because I feel like I compete best when I'm wrestling for my brothers and stuff. So basically, Nebraska Kearney is just, it truly feels like a family, and I'm just happy there. It's the right fit for me. So yeah, I love competing for Nebraska Kearney.
Last question. I know you got family here. You want to be on the other side of this camera, don't you?
Yeah. I do, yeah.
You know, you and your brother have, your Twitter personas, and I love that. Why do you want to be on the other side of the camera, though? Why do you want to cover the sport? Why do you want to cover athletics? What is it about transitioning that appeals to you?
Yeah, for sure. So, conversely, what I was saying earlier about the mental health issues that wrestlers have that people don't see, once again, I know how much work wrestlers put in, and I'll be straight up with you, I feel like we don't get enough respect as it is. Call me crazy, but I just feel like we don't get enough respect as it is. Even at the D1 level. Like the D1 level, like in the wrestling world, the D1, yeah, they get a lot of coverage, but if you don't know wrestling, or if you've never known wrestling, they barely touch D1. They barely touch the D1 surface. Like, I think they need to be showing D1 matches on ESPN way more frequently, just like they show Big Ten. Big Ten's gotten better at it, the Big Ten Network, but we need a lot more coverage for wrestling, which, once again, I believe is the toughest sport, and I think it has some of the best, most interesting characters, because it doesn't just take a good physicality to be a good wrestler, it takes a mind. So, if you really get to know some of these wrestlers, like you've been doing a lot, you'll see that there's such good characters in wrestling, and that you can make such more good stories with wrestling. So I would love to be in it. I've always had an interest in film and media production, or minor media production. So I would love doing anything that's helping spread news in the wrestling world, especially for D2, D3, NAI, divisions that don't get covered at all. Like I said, I do think D1 still needs more coverage, but D2, D3, and NAI, they kind of, they hardly get anything at all.
What you're saying and I'm hearing is you're ready for an unpaid internship with the open mat. I can abuse you and send you. No. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you so much for your passion. Thank you so much for your bravery. Because again, nobody wants to talk about being, and not weak, but what is perceived as weak. As a man and as a wrestler, nobody wants to talk about those issues that plague us. So thank you so much, Josh. It breaks my heart. It honestly, when we look out there, I'm driving along and it hurt, buddy. But I know how good you are, and next season, the rest of the world's going to know how good you are, sir. Thank you so much for your time.
Yep. Hopefully I'll be a national champion next year this time.